Live.
Live.
Okay. Hi, folks. This is Bruce Thompson in New Zealand and Stephen Merrill Smith in Washington. And we're going to be talking about something of special interest to Stephen lately. It is a new way of generating hydrogen very quickly, 30 times faster than the normal kind of electrolysis can. I'm interested to hear what he has to say about that. I hope we have Ken Ulla-Dag and Patrick Treelar, because they showed interest, but maybe they're just listening. But welcome, guys, if you're there. All right, let's hear what you've got to say, Stephen.
I do see, I think, Patrick.
Oh, there's Stephen. Hooray. There's another.
Yeah. Hi, Patrick.
Hi.
Looks like you're having some camera problems there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
There's something covering your
yeah,
your
there
lens.
is. It's in a case. It's in a case. Hold on.
Okay. Okay.
There. That's best I can get it.
If you'll look in the chat box on the side, I have given you the links.
I'll get back to you in a second on my Mac. Okay.
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 All right. Fine.
Right, so I suggest we wait until Patrick's ready. Oh, here we are. Here's Ken as well. Ken Ulla-Dag with this beautiful 3D printed skull picture.
Oh, that's me.
Yes.
My sisters gave that to me for my 60th birthday present. Believe it. It's beautiful. It's up on the wall.
Quite a piece of work there.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really knew what to get. I've always been kind of fascinated with the Dia de la Muertes, the Day of the Dead, and they just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, perfect for that. Yeah. Wow.
I saw a really great quote. You go ahead.
Let me ask both of you if you can see the articles, the links that I shared in the group chat box to the right of the video screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay. The first one is an article that sort of explains the breakthrough for a layman and the significance of it for alternative energy. The second one, the lower one, the smaller link is the actual publication from the University of Glasgow that came out on September 12th that announced the breakthrough.
Okay.
And essentially they have discovered a new way in the electrolysis process that decouples the hydrogen from the water and uses a separate compartment with a platinum membrane. And the way they've devised this new electrolysis process, it can be done at atmospheric pressure, whereas before electrolysis of hydrogen had to be at very high pressures. It required a high base load of electricity, like the type of base load power you get from a nuclear power plant or from coal-fired plants or possibly hydro, but it required high baseline energy to produce the hydrogen for hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. This new way of extracting, decoupling the hydrogen from the water has a number of benefits. It's 30 times faster. It produces hydrogen in vastly greater quantities. It can be done at atmospheric pressure. It leapfrogs all the intrinsic safety issues that were previously associated with hydrogen, such as storage of hydrogen is like storing a bomb. You know, it's very explosive. Yeah. And also the way they were doing it before, the electrolysis process that they were using before was called, the state-of-the-art previous to this breakthrough was called a protein exchange migration electrolysis.
Okay.
PEME.
Okay.
And the membrane was some type of platinum. But the new double-chambered decoupling process is more advanced than that state-of-the-art PEM, and it keeps the membrane intact for a lot longer. In other words, you can use that process much longer before the actual precious metal membrane has to be replaced, like many, many times longer. It's so much better in so many ways. It's amazing. And then the real upshot of this is that you don't have to use, because it doesn't require these high pressures, and there are no storage issues to contend with. It can be produced 30 times more hydrogen can be produced in vastly greater quantities and more safely by using intermittent renewable energy power sources like wind, solar, biomass, geothermal, you name it. But that is a big deal. As an environmental lawyer, I know in the environmental community in Washington, D.C., we were all against a hydrogen economy because we knew it would take nuclear and coal-fired plants to be able to extract the hydrogen. And the future that we saw with a hydrogen economy was no place I wanted to live. I saw several documentaries on it, and it looked like a very dystopian, over-industrialized kind of future that was not green at all. But this new ability to produce hydrogen for fuel cell vehicles really turns the whole alternative energy future that we were contemplating upside down. Because now...
Let me ask you some questions.
Yeah, stop me, and ask questions, because I'll go on forever.
I would be very grateful if you could just give me maybe the 2 paragraphs I missed when I was trying to rig up my Mac.
Oh.
I mean, and a link. Can you post it?
Yeah, look on the right-hand side of your screen, Patrick.
Yeah.
The group chat. Can you open your group chat?
I've got it open.
There are 2 links. The first one, the long link, is the more layperson link. It is an explanation of what they did at the University of Glasgow and the article that they published in Science magazine and why it's important. Do you see that link?
No, I don't. Now, look, I'm not going to bore you with the fact that I can't. We can all do this later on. So
I can show you how to. I can show you how to find it if you just bear with me. Take your cursor and go over to the left-hand side of your screen, and a little bar will open up with all kinds of colorful tools.
Yes. Yep.
All right, click on the blue one that says chat.
One at the top, chat. All right, hold on. Well, I've done that, but there doesn't seem to be anything in there.
It should open up. It should open a sidebar on the right-hand side, Patrick, that gives you those links.
Can you see that I've just said hello through the chat?
Yeah. Can you see above your hello where I have the links?
No, I don't think it's allowing me to have the links prior to my, connecting up. So if you could cut and paste them in there.
I'm going to do it again. Yeah, I'm going to do it again.
I'm sorry, Bruce. I don't want to hold you up.
You're not holding us up. You're not holding us up. Did you get that one?
Oh, yeah. I got it.
Okay, now that's the one for lay people that kind of explains why this is such a breakthrough. And here is now the actual paper that was published and well received in Science magazine. If it's in Science, it's pretty much very mainstream and incontrovertible. Once it's in Science, that's the second one. Did you get the second one?
I think I've got it. Yeah, it's sciencemag.org.
Yeah, that's the technical one. If you want to see how they do the decoupling process, and I actually spent like 5 hours discussing this with my roommate. My roommate's a condensed matter physicist, and let me tell you, he never gets excited about anything. He is blasé about things that I think are just terrific. But he got excited about this, and that alone, I know this man, for him to have gotten excited about this tells me it's very important. but I did do a lot of homework beyond that, discussing it with him and reading both these articles at least twice. And so the upshot is that we're able to produce hydrogen for fuel cell vehicles that do not emit any pollution whatsoever. Our fuel source is water, you know.
Hang on,
Yeah,
hold it.
it sounds like an absolute dream come true, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can remember
It
thinking,
does.
suppose I could extract hydrogen from water, you know, for nearly all of my life.
I want to say something. Please let me speak. First of all, we've got to find out. It's wonderful. It's wonderful if it can produce, if it can do electrolysis at 30 times the current rate. That's very good. But inside the car, what energy source is decoupling the hydrogen? It's because the very decoupling process is exactly the same amount of energy needed as you get when you recouple it by burning it. All right. So we've got to find out on board that car, what is it that's actually decoupling it? Even though you can do it 30 times faster, the first law of thermodynamics says you cannot produce energy from nothing.
I think there's two ways you can do this. I think you can fill up with a tank of water.
No. That's only the material that you're going to put a lot of energy into to decouple the hydrogen.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I think that you can probably fill up some cars will try to go this way. Fill up with a tank of water, put the electrolysis process as the attached to that to produce the hydrogen, and then that produces the electricity for the fuel cell, and it's an electric car. However,
that's not answering.
It's more likely that what will happen is, just like we store gasoline in tanks in cars, and it has explosive properties, does it not? We can also store hydrogen in cars to power the fuel cells that power the electric motors. So, I mean, there are two ways that you can think about how this could be used.
Why bother? If you do that, why would you bother to store hydrogen in order to power the process of decoupling hydrogen so you could burn the hydrogen? Why not just have the hydrogen there in the first place?
That's what I said. In my second example, I'm saying you have a tank of hydrogen.
Okay. So how have we overcome the problem of storage?
The fuel cell is in the car, and it requires the hydrogen to produce electricity for the electric motors.
Okay, so you've still got to store large amounts of hydrogen inside the car.
Not necessarily large amounts, no. And yes, you do have to store it. Why is that an issue? This new method leapfrogs the storage explosion problems.
No, I don't believe it does, because let's understand one thing, that the process of... Let me just explain something about physics. The energy that when you have a hydrogen and oxygen atom together, they hang on to each other very tightly. And then when you put a lot of energy in, you can break that bond apart, and later on, anytime you like, you can rejoin it, gaining the energy back, or part of it. Now, we haven't overcome that problem. This machine is not, it certainly does the process of electrolysis faster, but it doesn't actually, we still have to have an energy source inside the car enough to do the decoupling that will give you the coupling again, that generates the energy.
What's the kickstart, is what you're saying, basically. If you're going to prime the pump...
No, Bruce, I think you're wrong. What we were discussing were cars that were filled with hydrogen, and the hydrogen fuels, the hydrogen provides the energy for the fuel cells.
But why bother to have a store of hydrogen in the car when you can simply burn that hydrogen without using it to go through the process of decoupling and recoupling the hydrogen? That
was my first example that you didn't like. Okay. That instead you would have a storage tank of water, and you would have the decoupling electrolysis double-chambered method that was announced in the Science magazine in the car itself, producing hydrogen from the water and also powering the fuel cells which power the motors, the electric motors. But you didn't like that one. That was my first suggestion.
All I'm saying is it sounds like...
I don't know which way it will go.
It sounds to me like a perpetual motion machine. That's what it sounds like to me.
You're saying that there's got to be something in to create the energy to decouple the hydrogen.
Right, and that is renewable energy. You put solar cells on top of the car. You recapture. Let me finish. You recapture the energy lost in braking, just like hybrid cars do. You could do any number of things to power the.
That's a question. What we're looking at now is a question of quantities. The amount of energy falling on the roof of a car, the total solar energy coming in, I think, would be about maybe a kilowatt, and then you've got the loss of efficiency of turning that into electricity. So you haven't got, as I understand it, I'm a bit out of it now, but there's no.
Have you read the article?
I don't have to read the article. I just have to ask you the quantities. You're saying it'll work. I'm saying, as far as I know, the amount of energy falling on a square meter of ground or square yard of ground is at max about 1 kilowatt, and at best you probably get about 150 watts out of that, and that's nowhere near.
No, I think you're too low on that. But especially with some of the new photovoltaics that are coming out.
What efficiency have you heard of?
Higher ones than that.
15%.
The new gallium arsenide, not the silicon based, but the new gallium arsenide photovoltaics have a much higher efficiency.
Yeah.
Gallium arsenide, not silicon.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
And it's like the efficiency is, I want to say 3 times greater. Anyway, what I was trying to communicate was that they can produce this hydrogen from low amounts of intermittent renewable energy, such as solar, such as wind, such as you name any other alternative energy that's on again, off again, intermittent.
That's great. Yep, that's great. Very good. So that's where I agree with you, Stephen, that if it can produce it at 30 times the efficiency, then presumably while the sun is still up during the day, you're going to get a lot more hydrogen. So your capture of solar energy into hydrogen is therefore much faster and presumably therefore much better, and that is definitely exciting. Now, whether we have
if the sun is not out, or there's something goes wrong with the solar panels, the car would have backup ways to power the decoupling process that manufactures the hydrogen, such as recapturing the brake energy. There could be little wind turbines in the car.
See, one thing I'd like to just suggest is, as far as I know, even if you had 100% efficiency of the capture of the solar energy on a hot day in Mexico coming down on a car, you might, if you're at 100% efficiency of capture of that and deliver it to the wheels, you would have 2 kilowatts. 2 kilowatts.
I'm still thinking, though, that your whole argument there is wrong, and what my physicist roommate was telling me was that we can now store this hydrogen in a way that's much safer. And
that's good too.
It doesn't escape. One of the problems with hydrogen was that they would be escape. This new process allows people to carry a tank of hydrogen around in their car to power their fuel cell. That's what he was saying.
You're saying it'll make enough hydrogen daylight.
Just like gasoline. Instead of gasoline, we would have hydrogen in our tanks. And the hydrogen would have been produced via alternative energy at some other location, maybe at the gas station where you fill up with hydrogen.
So what you're saying, Stephen, is you have a big bottle of water in the car, and you have a little bit of hydrogen, and that little bit of hydrogen will be enough to power the decoupling of that big bottle of water into hydrogen.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No,
what are you saying?
I'm saying it's far more likely that instead of a tank of gas or a hybrid or even these fancy batteries that we were contemplating for the Tesla and all this other stuff, this is where it really gets wonky for the way we've been going. It kind of flips things around. Instead of that, you can drive around with a tank of hydrogen just like we drive around with tanks of gas, and it powers the fuel cell. The fuel cell gives you the electric energy to turn the motors that would be in each wheel of the car. Those new rotaries.
Our difference remains that you think that there's enough energy coming in from the roof of the car to drive.
No. That's only one type of prototype vehicle that could be possible. I am saying that the more likely vehicle that would come about would be very similar to a gasoline car, except instead of an internal combustion engine, you have a hydrogen fuel cell that powers rotary electric motors on each of the wheels. And instead of filling up with gas, you would fill up with hydrogen. The hydrogen and this new process of producing it would be obtained at like a gas station or some fueling station where people with these types of cars could go and get their tanks filled with hydrogen for their fuel cells.
Yeah, okay. So I've just discovered, by the way, a website called cleantechnica.com where they say solar PV's 44% efficiency record thanks to NREL and Solar Junction. That's just a site I've looked at now. So let's say that was just by the way. If that was true, then presumably you'd have about 47, 80, 94. You'd have 940 watts to drive a car in bright, hot sunshine in Mexico per square meter.
You're still on the unlikely scenario that you're going to have a car that's going to have an electrolysis machine in it. And
that's one option.
With platinum, I mean, that's going to be a very expensive car. It's got to have. I don't know. I don't see that.
Well,
I don't think that's very likely.
Let's say that
I think people are just going to fill their tank up with hydrogen, and they're going to run around with fuel cells, and then they're going to give Tesla and they're going to give Nissan Leaf a run for their money.
I'm interested to hear from you that, and you've just proved you're right about there being, according to this article anyway, about 44% efficiency in solar.
Gallium arsenide? Did they mention gallium arsenide?
Let's have a look here. Okay, I'll have a quick look at the article.
It sounds like gallium arsenide.
It's called cleantechnica.com. I'll post the link.
But it's not a silicon photovoltaic. They're probably talking about gallium arsenide photovoltaic.
Yeah, well, that's what I was searching for. I was searching for that, and that's probably what it is. It's a triple junction CPV.
Just press Control F.
Hang on a sec. Control V. I'm just posting the link to that. There's the link.
Guys, listen, I have to say that I'm going to have to bow out of this, but I'd be very grateful if you could send me whatever links come up from this discussion. And also, I mean, the reason I've got to bow out is I know that you probably know by this time that I'm a Coursera addict. I have deadlines that I've got to complete. But I want to say something that you might be really interested in. I've discovered a course which is starting on Monday on Coursera called Surviving what do you call it? Technologies which disruptive.
Oh wow! Can you send me the link?
I will. And I think that what you're saying will be a really good target conversation. Opening up the thread in that.
What is Coursera?
I've started I have started. It hasn't opened yet, but I got into it this morning, and I put in virtually the first post saying, "Is the singularity near here?" So I'll send you the link to it. When you come to it, look for that, and we'll be able to start and keep a conversation going.
Do you have? You've got my email address, stephen.merrill23@gmail.com.
No.
Can you write it down real quick?
I really. Write it down? just well, you can send it to me. Can you send it to me in your
All
comment?
right, here it comes right now.
Okay. I'll post it onto the group anyway.
Where are you,
I'm
Patrick?
very, very interested in that. I just was made legal counsel of TechCast Global, and and all we deal with is disruptive emerging technologies.
Right. Okay. I've got you. StephenMerrill23@gmail.com.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Bruce, did you hear that? I just got made legal counsel at TechCast Global.
Excellent.
I
Congratulations.
know, it's exactly what I wanted. It's spooky. It's exactly what I wanted. I've been working at it for almost a year, trying to get it.
Right.
Congratulations.
I'm
Now,
so
where are
thrilled.
you, Patrick? You're in the UK, are you, Patrick?
Hey?
Are you in the UK? Where are you?
I'm in the UK. It's like 10:30 here at the moment.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys want forecasts on the future, there's a 14-day free 14-day trial membership, and I encourage you to go to the site and poke around. We have 140 experts that we survey almost every day, and we give some very interesting broken down forecasts on hydrogen that mentions my article I was telling you about, but also mentions nanotechnology, robotics, artificial intelligence, the singularity, all of that. We believe the singularity hit. TechCast 140 experts are in agreement that we'll have strong AI, i.e. the singularity,
Yeah.
by 2024, plus or minus 4 years.
Well, let's make it -4 years, please, because I touched 60 this year.
You can't wait, huh? You want it to happen
I
faster.
definitely want that singularity. I'll tell you what. Before I go, just excuse me.
I actually am savoring the extra time.
Let me just show you something. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a.
That's live.
Oh,
That's my skull.
That's the skull.
that's so beautiful.
Beautiful.
He will survive the singularity. I know that.
Don't worry, Patrick. We'll bring you back even if you die.
Okay. Well, I'll supply
Right.
you with the model details, and you can impregnate me into some new DNA or something.
Yeah,
But
just
I
give
have
us a clip. Just give us a clip of your hair, and we'll take it from there.
All right. My future's
All right.
safe with you.
That's right.
All right then.
See you, Patrick.
Blessings.
Okay.
See you. Bye bye.
All right.
Well, I'm very pleased that we had someone in the UK because I thought we might have, with the daylight saving, gone a bit wonky on time.
You know,
But it's
daylight
only-
saving hasn't happened here yet.
When? How soon is it? Is it soon?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably next weekend. It's closer to Halloween.
Okay. Anyway,
It's in
that-
October.
Okay. Anyway, back to the science. Please don't think that I'm being critical of you. What I'm trying to do is find out.
I know you're
Yeah.
grappling with how it would work, and what it would mean.
What I'm trying to do is see how it complies with the first and second laws of thermodynamics, which say you can't create energy out of nothing, and every time you do a conversion between different kinds of energy, there's always a loss. Now, and you've shown me some interesting things here. One of the most interesting was this article that says 47% efficiency of solar collection, which is great. That would mean, even in my fairly, scientific, physical, mathematical approach to it.
I thought you were really low.
Well, that's right. So you've upgraded, but I still haven't looked at this article to see when that stuff at 40% is available. So one of the crucial things I've discovered in all this disruptive technology is people say they're going to be able to do this or they've discovered that. Then you say, look at the timeline, and they say, well, this should be available by 2050. So one of the critical questions before you go anywhere with any of these things, say, when do they reckon it's likely to be on sale and in use?
Mainstream.
Yeah, well, I'm looking right now at that 47%.
But that's why you need to go to TechCast. TechCast has, they have graphs that show you
that's good. Yeah.
when it hits the market, when it goes mainstream. It's our, we call it our S curve,
Okay.
And it's fascinating. With 14 days, I could even get you extended. But with a 14-day free trial, you could go in there and get a lot of information. I would strongly encourage. I gave you the link to just go and sign up for the trial. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And,
now, so
and some of your questions may be answered by the forecasts. You would want to go to, well, if you have trouble using it, come to me and I'll tell you how to find what you need. Just email me.
I'm just asking, so I can ask you directly the question right now. You've read all the stuff, and yet you have not been able to tell me when this new tech will be on stream. The one article I read about it said it would be 30 years, and 30 to 40 years. That's what that article said. So I'm asking you.
I don't know. Scale up, as you know, as a futurist, it's always the big issue. And so I don't know what the scale up time will be. All I know is that it breaks the link between fossil fuels and hydrogen production, which creates and links it faster and safer and in larger quantities to renewable energies. So everything that I thought about alternative power and where we were headed has now been turned on its head by this breakthrough. I really have to rethink my vision of what the future is going to look like, because I had written off hydrogen. For many reasons, I had written off the fuel cell, and it's back in the running, I would say. And I don't know the scale up. I wrote an article for TechCast on it, and it still hasn't made it to the front page, much to my chagrin. But I'm working on that, and I wasn't able to find anything on scale up, and I was looking. Where did you see that it said 30 years? So I missed that.
I'd have to dig that out. But
because 30 years is kind of a joke. Where they always say fusion is 30 years away. Anything that.
Yeah, sure. That's exactly my feeling. I deliberately went out looking for the timescale of when it would come on stream, and the only article I came across said that it would be maybe 30 to 40 years it would be available. So I'm just asking. The
decoupling process using renewable energy.
The 30 times faster production of hydrogen. I'd have to look again. But before we do look at that, I'd like to read you something about that.
You could be absolutely right. You could be right. It might take that long.
Okay. Now let me just read something from that page I discovered.
Which will be good news to Tesla.
Listen for a minute.
Yeah.
On that web page that talked about 40% efficiency of solar, that is not a long time ahead. It looks from this paragraph I'm going to read you that it's not going to be that long for that. It says Department of Energy also granted San Diego-based CPV developer Soatec Solar a $25 million SunPath award to accelerate construction of the company's first large-scale CPV module plant. Added to $115 million of privately invested capital, the new CPV module plant will enable Solartech to supply more than 300 megawatts of clean, green, renewable energy to California consumers through agreements with San Diego Gas and Electric as well as other markets, the DOE noted. So that looks like it's coming on stream pretty well now, like it's within a year or two anyway.
Mm-hmm. I'm reading it too right now.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can see a date when it'll come on stream. But that looks pretty good.
I looked up gallium arsenide and couldn't find either word on this page. CPV.
It says it is readying the commissioning of its first commercial manufacturing facility in Henderson, Northern California, with an initial capacity to produce 5 to 6 megawatts of CPV cells with power conversion efficiency as high as 33.9%. The new manufacturing, etc., scaled up to 35 meg and employ, etc. So that's pretty. It says it's about 34%, which is very good.
That can't be silicon. That can't be silicon.
No, I don't think so. Because I was doing a search for gallium arsenide.
How do you spell gallium?
Gallium.
Okay. All right. Solar Junction is using gallium arsenide. The tandem cell was gallium indium phosphate on gallium arsenide.
Right.
Solar Junction. Apparently, they are using it.
Yeah, that's good. So that's
For
good
their
for
CPU.
solar. What next question that I'd like to know the answer to is, with this new 30 times faster generation of hydrogen, which I believe is true, I don't know when it's going to be online, but it sounds great, as you say, how much more, if you've got a sunny day in the Nevada desert, all right, you've got a sunny day in the Nevada desert. Now let's say you've got PV right now generating electricity that's churning out hydrogen, right? And let's say you get 1,000 tons of hydrogen currently. And now with a 30 times faster capture, how much more do you get? Do you get 2,000 tons? Do you get the quantities is interesting, because if it's more efficient.
It was unclear on the quantities. Okay. Everything that I read just said vastly greater quantities. The only figure they gave was 30 times faster. But it's designed to be used with intermittent renewable energy.
But all PV's like that. All PV is like that.
Are intermittent, right? But the fact that it's intermittent does not interfere with their ability to produce this at this rate.
Okay, that's right. So
it's designed.
Okay.
In fact, it's designed to use intermittent, apparently without battery backup, and that does raise a lot of questions. I mean, I'm curious how they do it.
But what you're doing is what it sounds like is you're using hydrogen as the battery. In other words, you fill up huge tanks with hydrogen while the sun's blazing hot. When the cloud goes across, it doesn't produce so much. But who cares? You've still got your big cylinder of hydrogen to supply the grid. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Basically,
but the reason I'm frowning is because I read something that said they didn't even have to do that. And it doesn't make sense, so I shouldn't have said it.
Well, see, I hear what you're saying about that too, because I have not ignored at all the fact that you've said it's 30 times faster, because that does mean that you can have
that you don't have to store it or something.
Well, 30 times faster still means that you've got to have something that drives the decoupling. And all I'm pointing out to you, and I hope you agree with this.
I think I do. Yeah.
To decouple hydrogen, you use as much energy as you do that you get from the eventual burning of the fuel. In other words, it's not as though you're gaining. Let's say it takes 100 kilowatts.
That's your law of physics there, thermodynamics, right?
Like the machine may be great, may be very fast in converting.
Bruce, read the science article for that. The science article should go into that. And as I recall,
Okay, I'm gonna.
Are you a physicist? What?
Well, I've been in. I'm not a physicist. I've got a background in telecommunications, and I've been in the field of the energy resources online group talking about energy for years.
I just get the idea that you're not going to have any problem at all with the science article. It's very technical, but I think I don't think it's going to be a difficult read for you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to read out the abstract right here now so that our watchers can hear it. It says, the electrolysis of water using renewable energy inputs is being actively pursued as a route to sustainable hydrogen production. Here we have a recyclable redox mediator, silicotungstenic acid, that enables the coupling of low-pressure production of oxygen via water oxidation to a separate catalytic hydrogen production to step outside the electrolyzer that requires no post-electrolytic energy input.
That's the second chamber I was talking about.
Right. This approach sidesteps the production of high-pressure gases inside the electrolytic cell a major cause of membrane degradation, and essentially eliminates the hazardous issue of product gas crossover at the low current densities that characterize renewable-driven water-splitting devices. We demonstrate that a platinum catalyst system can produce pure hydrogen over 30 times faster than state-of-the-art proton exchange membrane electrolyzers at equivalent platinum loading. So all I've said, I mean, that's great physics, but all I've said is we can produce hydrogen 30 times faster than we could before. But you still have to have the same energy input to do it.
Well, the same energy input as what? That's the upshot.
As current, at the moment.
No.
If you want 100 kilowatt hours of power out of.
No, wait. Let me finish. I really think that you're wrong here.
Okay.
The current state-of-the-art method required base load electricity, constant high levels of electricity because of the high pressures involved, and consequently you would need nuclear power plants and coal-fired plants to produce that energy to produce hydrogen. This is saying, no, we don't need those base load. We don't need that. We can produce it with renewable energy.
But I could do that on the roof of my house now. I can do that on the roof of my house now. I can put a PV up and I can hydrolyze water, turn it into oxygen and hydrogen, and burn it in a vehicle, and I could do that right now.
Well,
I mean,
if you were able to decouple it the way they are decoupling it, I suppose you could.
Well, see, electrolysis of water was a thing we did at school when I was in science class. We did all you do is you put a battery with 2 electrodes in water, and sure enough, you'll generate hydrogen and oxygen. So that's not that new. They're talking about a greatly more efficient, so not even more efficient, they're talking about faster. They're not talking about using less energy, they're saying faster. Now that's good. It's good to be able to produce it faster, because I'm assuming that...
No, they're also saying they're using less energy, Bruce. You've missed something in what you've read. I know that for a fact.
Well, they're not saying that. In that article, they're not saying anything about more efficiency. They're talking about a faster way of doing it.
Using only renewables, which do not produce high levels of electricity like coal-powered or nuclear plants, and they aren't always available. So it's not the same energy. That link has been forever broken.
But we are using PV to hydrolyze. I imagine we are using PV and wind to hydrolyze hydrogen. That was the whole idea of the hydrogen economy. The whole idea of the hydrogen economy was that we could use PV and wind and stuff, generate hydrogen, run around and tank with our cars with tank loads of hydrogen in them, and that's how we get by. That was the idea. Bit of problem with explosion, bit of problem with hydrogen being a small atom, small molecule, and getting through the steel.
Getting through the steel, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So
I know.
we haven't solved that problem because.
No, they're saying they have solved those intrinsic problems.
Well, that's what I don't understand, because the main question is, what specifically are they going to use to power the decoupling?
Solar or wind was what I gathered.
I'm talking about in a moving car.
You're back on the same type of prototype that I'm not sure is going to be competitive in the market. I'm imagining a different type of car. I'm not imagining a car that's going to carry around a platinum electrolyzer with these different chambers. It's just too much. It'd be very expensive, impractical. If it was in a wreck, think of how much damage it would do to all of that. I don't know.
Let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about a today hydrogen car, all right? A today hydrogen car has a big bottle of hydrogen in the boot, in the trunk, and it turns that puts that hydrogen and oxygen into the cylinder of the car where it explodes, generates pressure which drives the piston up and down and propels that vehicle forward. There's no electrolysis involved at all. It's really the reverse of electrolysis. It's allowing the hydrogen and oxygen to get together again, creating huge amounts of heat and pressure, and that drives your car. So there's no electrolysis there. It's the reverse of electrolysis. Now the future one is the same thing. It's exactly the same car, except that the hydrogen that's in the trunk wasn't created by the normal process of PV. It's done by a new process of PV, which is 30 times faster, somewhere in the Nevada desert.
I don't think that's right. Here, I'm going to put something in the chat page that I pulled from the article that you haven't read.
Okay.
This is what I pulled.
Okay.
Oh crap! Oh wait. All right, ignore that. Okay. Wait, let me. I'm gonna wait. Oh no, that works. Okay. All right. Let's read through it.
Okay.
Currently, industrial production of hydrogen relies overwhelmingly on fossil fuels to power the electrolysis process. The most advanced method of generating hydrogen using renewable power uses a method known as proton exchange membrane electrolyzer, PEMs. To reach optimum efficiency, PEMs require precious metal catalysts to be held in high-pressure containers and subjected to high densities of electric current, which can be difficult to reliably achieve from fluctuating renewable energy sources. The new method allows larger-than-ever quantities of hydrogen to be produced at atmospheric pressure using lower power loads typical of those generated by renewable power sources. It also solves intrinsic safety issues which have so far limited the use of intermittent renewable energy for hydrogen production.
Right. Yeah, so all that's all good. It's good stuff. What it's saying is, instead of having to have huge industrial processes at high pressure converting fossil fuel gas, natural gas, into hydrogen, you'll be able to much more efficiently do it using PV to directly decouple the hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so that's good. You've bypassed you've sped up a whole process, and presumably you can capture more energy from solar effectively this way than you could by very inefficiently doing it through natural gas or other fossil fuels.
Right, and here I want to add this too. Professor Cronin added, around 95% of the world's hydrogen supply is currently obtained from fossil fuels, a finite resource which we know harms the environment and speeds climate change. Some of this hydrogen is used to make ammonia fertilizer, and as such, fossil hydrogen helps feed more than half of the world's population. The potential for reliable hydrogen production from renewable sources is huge. The sun, for example, provides more energy in a single hour of sunlight than the entire world's population uses in a year. If we can tap and store even a fraction of that in the coming years, maybe 30, and decrease our reliance on fossil fuels, it will be a tremendously important step to slowing climate change.
Good. Yep, it's good.
So, but it still doesn't answer some of your basic questions, and I am unfortunately unequipped to answer them either. I can talk to my roommate. If you'll send me the specific questions that you have, I will answer them, and I'll answer them within the next 24 hours.
Yeah, that's good. I'm very interested. You can post them into the Singularity Hubbers group, because I think other people will be interested.
Well,
and I will
do that. I will do that, but I'll also email it to you.
That's great.
I'm on the mark.
I will post this stuff into the two main main forums that I've been involved in the last 10-15 years, and that's the Running on Empty 2 forum and the Energy Resources forum of Yahoo. Both of those Yahoo forums I've been involved with for 15 years, and these kinds of things are very interesting because we've been very fearful about the decline of fossil fuels, notably petroleum, oil, and gas, which we think at any time now is starting to surprise the world by declining, because not enough people know that the oil wells and gas wells, despite fracking recently and so on, are definitely going to start to climb down, maybe about 3.5% a year. So this kind of stuff is of keen interest to us. But we have been studying this stuff, this energy production, for 15 years, and we're used to excited arrivals of technologies that don't comply with the first and second laws of thermodynamics, and so we have to test everything we see. But I'm not saying...
I'm going to ask...
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I keep interrupting you.
Okay. I'm very happy to have this information from you, and I've learned in this conversation that there's around 40% efficiency PV now, which is a delight to me. I'm thrilled to hear that.
CPV, yeah. Concentrated photovoltaic.
Oh, I don't care. To me, it's PV. It's just better PV. That's great. The other thing is there's 30 times more production. One of the key questions to me is, if it's 30 times faster, does it mean that if you've got in the Nevada desert a big collection of PV, that you can get how much % more yield of hydrogen can you get if it can be done fast? I don't know how much the PV is a bottleneck to the actual capture of the PV themselves. You see what I mean? So I'll put those questions in and we can publish them. But
don't forget the main question though, which I'm going to answer in about 24 hours.
Yeah.
Of what type of a car does this portend?
All right. Okay. Yeah.
The type of car that has solar panels, CPV with gallium arsenide on the roof, plus some other forms of renewable energy, with the double chambered decoupling electrolyzer on board.
Yeah.
Or do we go and fill up our tanks with hydrogen instead of gas to power the fuel cells? I'll find out from my condensed matter physicist roommate.
And also find out
he
from
envisions, and about the second law of thermodynamics, that no energy.
The first law of thermodynamics is you can't get energy out of nothing. The second law is if you convert from one form of energy to another, there's always a loss because you can never do it 100% efficiently.
And that's what you did. That's what did not make sense to you about this at first, I think. Right. And I'll ask him about that.
Also ask your flatmate.
Can you post it exactly the way you just said it?
I want to ask the question online here right now before we finish, so other people know too what the question is. And is how much energy in the form of sunlight would fall on a typical car? My estimate is that the total raw energy from hot sun in, say, Mexico or the Sahara falling on the roof of a car in, say, 2 or 3 square meters or square yards would be 2 or 3 kilowatts. I'm saying that solar is great. There's a lot of it around, but it's spread over the whole planet. And I'm saying I don't think you'd power a very powerful car with solar, even if you had 100% efficiency.
But Bruce, why would we have to do that? I mean, we already have electric cars with these lithium-ion batteries. Tesla, Nissan Leaf. I mean, why couldn't we have a hybrid of what we know we're capable of doing now? I saw two Teslas. I saw 2 Teslas today just walking around the block in Washington.
I'm not arguing with that. I'm not arguing with that, Stephen. I'm saying
we have a hybrid.
I'm fully in agreement with that. I'm not arguing with that. I'm saying just keep in the picture. Realize that the amount of energy falling on the roof or the surface of a car is actually quite small, so we will have to have storage of some kind within it.
Got it.
That's all.
I agree. I was never proposing that you would power the car solely from the rooftop.
Just before we close, another subject that I hope that we will eventually discuss in the context of energy is David Sadoway's new liquid metal battery, because that, although it's not a portable battery, it could revolutionize storage. Have you heard of this before? There's an excellent TED talk on it.
Yeah, but I don't know enough about it to comment. Have you heard about the new well, it's not new. It happened last May. the breakthrough in large-scale graphene production?
I just skimmed the title of that, but I didn't read it.
So many breakthroughs. It's really hard. It's getting hard to keep up.
I know.
I think we're in the singularity now.
Well,
I mean, there's this exponential increase of information, and even as just legal counsel of TechCast,
right.
I'm involved in field editing, and it's hard for me to keep up with all this stuff that happens every day.
Right, I agree.
Do you want me to send you the link? It's nothing's happened since then. I researched it. There's no new news on it this fall.
Okay. So
the last really good news about it was from May 13th. If you'd like, I'll send that to you as well.
Yes, do send that. I'm just
because that has big implications for next gen computing.
Right.
They were able to print it on glass. Thin, flexible glass.
Okay.
They were able to, and it removed a whole step from the typical process of the graphene process that makes large-scale production of it possible, so that in some point your laptop or your smartphone is going to have a little sheet that you can pull out for your display, and it'll be flexible. And it will also be touch screen responsive.
Sounds good. Now I've just posted you a link to a TED talk, which I hope you enjoy it. I found it pretty good. I agree fully with what you said about things happening so fast. And one thing I'd add to that is
it's amazing
that most of the exponential graphs that we see from the singularity, they talk about the growth of individual technologies, but I wonder whether they actually talk about the synergy that will accelerate those graphs if they're looked at not just as one graph, but as a collection of graphs that interface with each other. You see what I'm saying? Each of the new technologies, like 3D printing, for example, if you're looking at...
Yes.
You know what I'm saying. I'm saying each of those things is going to be a catalyst to the others. So the graphs may be deceptively slow. It may be that the exponential rise of these technologies is even faster than the individual technologies are expecting, because of the effect of the other technologies accelerating them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think I need to turn my bandwidth down. Your voice is cutting in and out. I'm not sure if I need to turn down my bandwidth or what. How do you turn down bandwidth?
It's that little bar thing up the top. Adjust bandwidth settings. It looks like a triangle.
Okay, I go to the top. It looks like a sprocket settings.
No. It looks like a triangle. It's a triangle of bars.
A triangle.
Next to the cog.
Oh. All right, mine's at the very highest, so I'm going to do it to medium.
Okay.
And maybe that's a little better. Before you go, I found the article, and shoot. God, where is it? And this has to do with nanotechnology.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not it. Hang tight with me just for another second. I will find it.
Okay.
It's on another browser. Okay. Search.
While you're doing that, I'm going to read to any listeners who are watching this the text of that liquid metal battery by Donald Sadoway. Okay. What's the key to using alternative energy like solar and wind? Storage, so we can have power on tap, even when the sun's not out and the wind's not blowing. In this accessible, inspiring talk, Donald Sadoway takes to the blackboard to show us the future of large-scale batteries that store renewable energy. As he says, we need to think about the problem differently. We need to think big, we need to think cheap. So he's produced a new kind of battery, and it's, by the way, being manufactured in Massachusetts as we speak for commercial use. So it's not way in the future. and that's a wonderful. It's a TED talk. It's called Donald Sadoway, The Missing Link to Renewable Energy. A wonderful video of about 15 minutes. The battery isn't portable, but it's very cheap, relatively cheap to make, and it means that we can, for a whole neighborhood, supply our neighborhood from a battery the size of, say, a 40-foot shipping container, either all day or certainly several hours, which effectively means that the demand of the grid is smooth. You can instead of having to have machinery to deliver power at the peak level so nobody's off the air, you can supply at peak energy from these batteries, these big batteries you'd store in the neighborhoods. It's not portable enough to put in a car, but you could soon use it to power cars, charge up your cars, that sort of thing. So that's very good too, very promising.
All right, I've got that one queued up, and as soon as we sign off, I'm going to watch it.
Okay.
I do need to sign off, though. We've been on for an hour, and yeah. I don't know if you've noticed me really around like this, but my back really hurts.
Okay.
I need to lay down and look at the TED Talk.
All right.
Did you see the graphene link that I?
I've got it. Thanks. Before you go, for your back pain, I've got a suggestion. Now, don't laugh, because this works for me. I saw a conference online. It was a YouTube video. It was a team of doctors talking about back pain, and the guy who was teaching them about back pain, he said, "Do this." He said, "Do this." He said, "Can you see me?" I'll
yeah.
He said, "Do this." He said, "This is good for your back." He said, "It's because the brain loses track of what the hell is going on in your back, and if you stoop repeatedly, like the dipping duck," he says, "it re-educates the neurology of your back. Your brain stops producing pain because it now knows, it reorientates itself to what's happening in your back instead of being switched off. You've been sitting down for a long time. It got disorientated. If you keep doing
you're
that,
saying that movement that you're doing is good?
Yes, I am. Well, I'm not saying it. This specialist did it, and I myself, who've had minor back pain, but very uncomfortable back pain, I myself, as soon as I saw that video, I thought that's far too good to be true. But I tried it, and bingo, it works. And it made
Show
me
me
laugh.
Again.
All right.
Show me again.
Do you know that dipping duck? That dipping duck toy.
Yeah, in the glass of water.
That's right. He said, "Do that." And the funny thing is that all the devout Jews do that at the wall. You know what I mean? They do this bending thing, and I couldn't help but wonder whether he was a Jew. In which case, they're very smart, because they're doing something that's excellent for reorientating, rebooting the wiring of their back to their brain. And their brain.
Let me tell you something then. I have some compressed disc from I was hit by a minivan when I was crossing lawfully in a crosswalk.
Right.
And I thought, well, look, there's a million of us here. He's got to stop. They're not a million, but there's a lot of people in the street. He's got to stop. We've got the light.
Right.
Well, he was talking to his father, apparently, and he didn't see the light. He ran the light, and he hit me. And I've had, as a pedestrian, I've had serious back pain problems ever since.
Okay.
Can you see this? Looks like a snow boot.
It's a brace. It's a brace.
All right.
It's a brace.
That goes on your ankle.
Okay.
And it has this hook. Do you see the hook?
Yep.
There's the hook. All right. Do you see my doorway with that bar?
Yep.
All right. This is an inversion gravity. You put these on your legs.
Okay. And you hang upside down.
And you hang upside down, and it uncompresses your discs.
Right. Okay.
And the more I do this, the better I feel. And I need less medication for the pain.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, just another thing about that. That dipping duck thing amused me, and it did work for me. But I subsequently, many months.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah. Hang on. Just hang on. Let me say another thing. I found many months later, I saw another website where a guy he was a back specialist or a chiropractor or something like that. And he said, if you want to relieve if you want to refill the tissue between your back, what do you call it, discs, whatever it is.
Discs.
Yeah, he said the thing to do is to keep stooping back and forward because it pumps fluid like a sponge from the outside into the inside. Now that he didn't know anything about that doctor who recommended the stooping thing. He was talking about it for another reason.
But it's the same motion. It's
yes,
the same
exactly,
motion.
exactly. And of course, it's exactly what all the Jewish people do, the devout ones, when they're dipping at they stoop at the Wailing Wall. All the Orthodox Jews do that. They go back and forward, back and forward. They're doing it for a religious procedure.
Well, this beats the hell out of 4 aspirins a day.
Well, sure. See, it's how I beat my back pain. You can even do it in bed if you stoop like that, even when you're lying in bed.
I'm going to try it in combination.
Please let me know if it works, because I want to know.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to find a non-narcotic painkiller that works for me, plus aspirin and this hanging upside down. But I think I definitely will be adding this new dipping motion to my repertoire, because I'm going to beat this. Eventually, as well as I do, in a few years, they're going to be replacing those discs. Right. And I will be the first in line to get mine replaced.
Right.
Because there's 4 of them that are kind of crushed.
Yeah. Do you ever get headaches?
They're not breached. They're not fractured or breached, thank God. They're just compressed.
Right. Okay.
And they're not as spongy as they should be.
Do you get headaches, by the way? Ever? Do you get headaches? Do you ever get headaches?
Headaches? No.
Okay. I made a video about how to fix headaches with cold. Have you tried cold on your back, by the way? Really cold flannel on the area that's hurting, on your spine. Have you tried that?
No.
Try that and let me know about
that. I mean, it's here in the neck.
Yeah.
It's in places I can't reach, and it's in the L4. There are 4 discs essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to bore you viewers with my physical ailment.
I'm not bored at all. I'm curious about the use of cold on dealing with pain, because I've had great success with. I no longer get migraines. I fix migraines. I'm going to post you a link right there. See that link? I've just posted you a link.
Okay.
And that's a video. That's a video, 2-minute video I made.
Thank you. Thank you.
5 out of 5 people who tried this technique that I've found have said it works for them. 5 out of 5 so far, and I want to find out whether it works for other people. That's for migraine, but I'm also curious how much cold can be used also for back pain. It certainly helps me.
Cold is an anti-inflammatory, and my discs are inflamed, so it stands to reason that it would work.
Well, let me know how both your back works and anyone with headaches. Have a look at that. Well, I don't know, the video of the migraine may not be so relevant. Anyway, we've gone over time, but it was a great discussion. Thank you again. I just love these discussions.
Yeah, I wish we could get
more about next time.
How can we get more people to participate? I mean, we really need more people.
I do find people are watching.
Can we talk to David Hill? Can we talk to David Hill and say, David, can you promote this some more? David Hill for the Singularity Hub.
Well, he is. I mean, we do post it into the Singularity Hub. But one easy way, I think, to try getting more people is simply when I make the video, I make it public, because I've only made it to the Singularity Hub and to you and Pat and Can and people like that. But I think I've been tempted many a time, instead of just making it exclusive to Singularity, to make it public, and then we might get some loony cranks, but we might get some very clever people as well. So we can do that. If you don't mind, we could do that.
I don't mind.
All right, let's try that next time. But do we have a subject, or should we think about a subject and publicize it?
How about the graphene, the large-scale production of graphene?
All right, okay, good. Sounds good to me.
For next gen computing.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about we'll talk about graphene in general. All right.
Right. And don't forget to go to TechCast and sign up for your 14-day free trial. Poke around, and if you can find forecasts for when things are going mainstream. If you had a lot of money to invest, this would be the site to check out the industry and when it's expected to go mainstream. You would need to go.
How much does it cost to subscribe?
You can't subscribe. You join. It's an international. It's an exclusive international brain trust.
Yeah.
So we ask that you write what you bring to the table. We ask for a bio,
Yeah.
and if you're accepted, along with $3,000, you join this international brain trust, and you have full access to the 140 experts. And you're expected to give access to other people too. It's
Okay.
it's not a subscription.
But it's far too dear for me.
It's not a subscription to a magazine that you can ignore or a website that you can do or not do. You're joining an interactive international brain trust.
Well,
that's what I find it so exciting about it.
I'd love to, but it's $3,000.
It is $3,000. However, anything else in the market that closely approximates what we do, for instance, Forrester is $30,000, and they do the same kind of work. There's another one, Garnier, and they're $30,000. So we're giving you something that they give you, which we think is actually even better. And in the DC community of Futurist, I have to tell you, I networked for a year with Futurist. Everyone said TechCast is the bomb. Why haven't you talked to TechCast? And I finally did talk to them, and I got this job, so I'm absolutely thrilled.
Okay, that's for getting work.
I wanted to end my environmental law career, and I wanted to begin an emerging technology career where I could do policy analysis of the environmental and economic disruptive effects of emerging technology, and that seems to be now where I'm headed.
Yeah,
but everyone said TechCast was the bomb.
Okay, I agree, but if I want, I'm not now in a position where I want to get a job doing technical writing. I get a fair amount of feed by Google Alerts and by Singularity Hub membership about the technologies. So to spend $3,000, is that $3,000 per minute or $3,000 a year?
It's $3,000 a year.
Yeah, okay. It's out of my price range. When I get rich, then I might do it, but I'm not rich enough now.
Well, you've got a 14-day free trial period.
Yeah,
you've got me.
Yeah, that's right. That's the main thing.
You can always ask me to look stuff up for you.
You pay the $3,000 for me, and I'll be glad to talk with you.
I'm saying after your 14-day thing expires, if you want me to look up a forecast, I'll be happy to.
I promise I'll join the
trial. Once you see how the forecasts are done, then you'll have an idea of what I can ask Steve about specifically.
Okay.
In nanotech and stuff like that, and you'll have a much better idea of how it could be useful to you.
Okay, I'll definitely do the trial.
And I'll work with you to make it worthwhile.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It's very valuable, truly.
It really is.
All right, this is a great discussion, and next week it's going to be about graphene.
Yeah, large-scale production of graphene.
Yeah. All right, I'll see you next week, same time, but we'll probably email in between.
Are we going to do 5 o'clock next time or 4? You liked it at this later date, but I think it's a problem in the UK.
Well, no, I think what we've done today is perfect for me, and it's also okay for England because
it's perfect for me too.
It was okay for the UK, which is what I was hoping it would be.
Well, let's do it at 5 o'clock on Saturdays because I'm always rushing to get back from errands to be in front of my computer. Okay. It seems. But by 5 o'clock, I'm usually back.
That's Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So okay. That is then 9 o'clock.
I've got to get going. I've got some canvassing to do.
Yeah. All right. See you later.
All right. See you later. Bye.